In the shadows where truth and tales intertwine, we find the thrilling, the chilling, the downright spine-tingling. From the paranormal to the peculiar, every echo has a story. Dare to delve into the unexpected, the unexplained? Brace yourself, for you're about to embark on a journey where fear meets fascination. Stay tuned if you dare, for stories that will make your heart race and your mind ponder. Welcome to the realm of the eerie, the realm of the unknown. And remember, like and subscribe, if you dare. In the year 1573, eastern France was gripped by a chilling tale. A tale of a man who lived on the fringes of society, known by the locals as the Hermit of Dole. His name was Gilles Garnier, a solitary figure who lived a simple life with his wife, Apolline, in their shared hermitage. But beneath this modest facade hid a darker, more sinister reality. Garnier's story truly begins with a horrifying act, one that would set the stage for a series of gruesome events, sending a ripple of fear across the region. In a quiet vineyard near Dole, he launched his first attack. His victim, an innocent 10-year-old girl, was caught unaware. He dragged her into the adjoining Bois de la Serre, a dense forest that concealed his unspeakable deeds. In the secluded woods, Garnier committed an act of unthinkable savagery. He unclothed the young girl and feasted on the flesh from her thighs and arms. Not content with this, he removed more of her flesh, intending to share this grotesque meal with his unsuspecting wife back at their hermitage. Garnier's life was far from ordinary. He lived away from the bustling towns, away from prying eyes. His was a life of solitude and simplicity, but his actions revealed a man tormented by a monstrous hunger. A hunger that was not satiated by his first horrifying act, a hunger that would drive him to strike again. As the sun set and the moon took its place, the vineyards once again became the hunting ground for this insidious hermit. The peaceful vineyards, bathed in the soft lunar glow, held an eerie silence, a silence that concealed the terror that was about to unfold. His hunger not satiated, the hermit prowled the vineyards once again. The horrors of the Hermit of Dole were far from over. The terror was just beginning. Gilles Garnier, the man, the myth, the monster, was ready to strike again, leaving the people of eastern France trembling in fear. The vineyards near Dole held a sinister secret. The reign of terror continued as Garnier, cloaked in the guise of a wolf, struck again. This time he set his sights on another young girl who was unfortunate enough to cross his path. His monstrous appetite unsatisfied, he left her mutilated body in 5 places, only to be interrupted by 3 brave men, forcing him to flee before he could begin his horrific feast. But the beast was not to be deterred. A week later, the vineyards near Dole once again bore witness to the gruesome scene. Garnier, in his wolf form, attacked a boy, tearing into him with a savage hunger. The unfortunate child was left partially consumed, a leg torn off for a later meal. The brutality of these attacks sent waves of fear rippling through the region, the once peaceful vineyards now a hunting ground for a monstrous predator. However, it was his next crime that would lead to his downfall. In his bloodlust, Garnier killed another boy, dragging the lifeless body into the woods. But his meal was interrupted, forcing him to retreat. As he moved away, he resumed his human form, revealing his true identity to those unfortunate enough to witness the horrifying scene. The people of the region recoiled in terror and disgust at the discovery of half-eaten children. The Parliament of Franche-Comté, horrified by the gruesome scene, issued a decree in 1573 demanding that werewolves be hunted down by locals and brought to trial. Garnier's reign of terror had to be stopped. Yet, it was not the huntsman who would bring Garnier to justice. It was a group of unsuspecting workers returning from their day's toil who stumbled upon the gruesome scene. They found Garnier crouched over a dead child, his monstrous form illuminated by their torchlight. Recognizing the Hermit of Dole, they acted swiftly, apprehending him and delivering him into the hands of the magistrates. His monstrous actions were not to go unnoticed. The reign of terror was over, but the horror of what had transpired would forever haunt the vineyards near Dole. The Parliament of Franche-Comté had had enough. The horror that had swept through the peaceful vineyards of Dole was not to be tolerated any longer. The sight of children, innocent and pure, torn apart and half-eaten, sent tremors of revulsion through the hearts of the people. In 1573, the Parliament issued a decree, a demand that echoed through the quiet, fear-filled streets. The werewolves were to be hunted down. The decree was a call to arms, a rallying cry for the locals to rise up to bring these monsters to trial, to bring an end to the reign of terror. In the cold, dark nights that followed, the hunt began. Men armed with nothing but torches and a burning desire for justice combed the woods, their eyes filled with fear and determination. Every rustling leaf, every snapping twig sent hearts racing and hands clenching around makeshift weapons. But it was not these huntsmen who would catch Gilles Garnier. Fate had a different plan in mind. A group of workers, weary from a long day's toil, stumbled upon the hermit one night. They were returning from work, their minds clouded with thoughts of warm fires and hearty meals when they saw it. A figure hunched over a lifeless form. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they thought they had come face to face with the feared werewolf. But as the flickering light from their torches cut through the darkness, they recognized the face of the hermit, Garnier. In a heart-stopping moment, the men sprang into action. Acting swiftly, they captured Garnier, their hands shaking, their minds reeling from the horror of their discovery. The hermit, the wolf, the monster, he was finally in their grasp. With a sense of grim satisfaction, they took him to the magistrates at Dole. The hunt was over. The terror was caught. The hermit was finally in the hands of justice. Under the harsh hand of justice, the hermit began to spill his secrets. His confessions, as chilling as the wind that blew across eastern France in the winter of 1573, sent shivers down the spines of those who heard them. Gilles Garnier, the hermit of Dole, spoke of his life before the terror. He had lived a life of solitude, dwelling in the Sambono woods, far from the prying eyes of society. In 1572, however, his life had taken a turn. He had married and fathered children, a responsibility that weighed heavily on his shoulders. He was no longer feeding just one mouth, but several. The pressure of providing for his family pressed down on him, driving him to the brink of despair. One fateful night, while foraging in the desolate woods, Garnier claimed to have been visited by a specter. This ghostly figure offered him a solution to his dire predicament, a way out of his consuming despair. The specter presented him with an unguent, a salve that held the power to transform him into a wolf. This transformation, the specter promised, would enable him to hunt more effectively, to be a better provider for his family. In his desperation, Garnier did the unthinkable. He accepted the specter's offer, smearing the unguent over his body, and succumbed to the beast within. He confessed to the horrific crimes that followed, the murder of 4 innocent children. His words brought forth a wave of revulsion amongst the people, their dread matched only by their anger. His confession was supported by the testimony of over 50 witnesses, people who had seen the terror unfold, who had lost their loved ones to the beast that lurked within Garnier. Their accounts corroborated his confession, adding weight to the heavy burden of truth that Garnier bore. His confession sealed his fate. The people's relief was palpable as they awaited the execution of the monstrous man who had disrupted the peace of their lives. The day of reckoning had come. The town square of Dole was brimming with anticipation, a sense of dread and yet a palpable relief. The hermit of Dole, Gilles Garnier, was to face his punishment for his unspeakable crimes. The townsfolk who had lived in fear for so long would finally see the monster brought to justice. The morning sun was clouded with smoke as the execution pyre was built. The smell of burning wood mixed with the distinct scent of fear hung heavy in the air. Garnier, stripped of all dignity, was led to the stake. His face was a mask of resignation, the weight of his atrocities finally sinking in. His eyes held no hint of the beast that had terrorized the region. As the flames began to rise, licking at the stake, a hush fell over the crowd. The crackling fire was the only sound piercing the silence. The heat was intense, the spectacle ghastly, yet the townsfolk watched on, their faces a mixture of disgust, fear, and relief. Garnier's screams echoed through the square, a haunting reminder of the terror he had wrought. The flames danced higher, consuming him, the man, the wolf, the monster. His cries soon faded, replaced by the roar of the fire. The monstrous man was being reduced to nothing more than ashes and charred bones. As the last of the flames died out, leaving only the smoldering remains of Garnier, a cheer erupted from the crowd. The reign of terror was finally over. Mothers held their children a little tighter. Fathers breathed a sigh of relief. The streets of Dole would no longer be haunted by the specter of the werewolf. The execution of Gilles Garnier marked the end of a dark chapter in the history of Dole. His horrific deeds would be remembered. A chilling tale told to generations to come, a stark reminder of the evil that can lurk in the hearts of men. The monstrous man was no more, leaving behind only a chilling tale of horror. And so, our tale of the Campfire Horrors comes to an end. Until next time, sleep tight. Before we part ways, dear viewers, remember to stay vigilant. The Campfire Horrors may have been extinguished for now, but the embers of the unknown always remain. As you lay down to sleep tonight, don't forget the lessons from our tale. Safety is but a fleeting moment in a world of unseen. So, if you've enjoyed this journey into the abyss, don't forget to ring that bell and smash that like button. Do it before the thing under your bed decides to pay you a visit. Oh, and keep those night lights on. You never know what might be lurking in the dark. Thank you for embarking on this terrifying adventure with us, until our paths cross again in another tale of the unknown. Goodbye and sweet dreams, if you can.